My people, gather close and open your ears. What I am about to tell you is not just a story, it is a warning wrapped in mystery, a tale that will make your skin crawl and your heart tremble. Have you ever heard of a stepmother so wicked that she turned her husband's daughter into a goat? Oh! If you think you have heard all the wickedness of women, wait until this one reaches your ears. You will sit up tonight and wonder how human jealousy can grow into something darker than midnight. This tale happened long ago in a small village in Nigeria, where the gods walked close to men, and magic was never far away. But the lessons in it are fresh, like palm wine tapped this very morning. So, my children, sit by the fire, let the sparks dance in your eyes, and listen well. For once you hear the first words of this story, you will not be able to stop until the last word is spoken. The village of Umuaka lay between two rivers, surrounded by thick forest where hunters chased bush meat and women gathered firewood. The soil was red like blood, and when rain fell, it painted the children's feet the color of rust. At the heart of the village stood the great Iroko tree, a meeting place where elders judged disputes, where lovers whispered secrets, and where storytellers like me planted words into eager ears. Life there was simple, yet full of rhythm, pestles pounding yam, goats bleating in the morning, drums calling the people at sunset. In this village lived Okoro, a hunter known for his courage. His traps always caught fat antelopes, and his arrows never missed their mark. But above all, Okoro was respected for his kindness. He had one child, a daughter named Adana. Her name meant father's daughter, and indeed she was the joy of his life. Adana was as beautiful as the first rays of dawn. Her laughter could chase sorrow from any heart, and her eyes carried both innocence and wisdom. But her mother had died early, leaving her to grow up under her father's care alone. The elders soon began to pressure Okoro. A man cannot live with only his daughter, they told him. A girl needs a woman's hand to guide her. She needs someone to prepare her for womanhood. You must take another wife. At first Okoro resisted, but eventually he bowed to their advice. He married Nena, a woman from a neighboring village. She was tall and fair-skinned, with eyes like burning coal and lips that curved in charming smiles. Everyone said Okoro was lucky to have such a woman. But behind that smile, Nena carried a heart darker than the forest at midnight. From the moment she entered Okoro's compound and saw Adana, her soul began to twist with envy. The girl's beauty was a constant reminder that she, the stepmother, would always stand in Adana's shadow. Whenever Okoro praised his daughter, Nena felt invisible, like smoke drifting away in the wind. She wanted the whole household, the whole village, to kneel before her, but instead all eyes turned to Adana. Nena could not sleep. Night after night, she tossed on her mat, anger burning her chest. "This girl is my curse," she muttered, staring at the ceiling of her hut. "As long as she lives, I will never have peace. Okoro's love will never be mine, and the villagers will never respect me." Her jealousy was like a fire that grew every day, eating her from the inside. Then she remembered her late mother's words, "If the world refuses to bend to your will, go to the river woman. She holds the power to change destiny." That very night, when the village slept, Nena wrapped herself in a black wrapper, tied cowries around her waist, and slipped into the forest. The path was narrow and full of shadows, but her anger gave her courage. She walked until she heard the rushing sound of the forbidden river, where spirits were said to dwell. The river mist rose like smoke, and the water glowed faintly under the moon. Nena knelt by the bank and poured palm oil, kola nuts, and the blood of a cock into the water. "Great mother of the river," she whispered, "hear me. I am Nena, daughter of Ifeoma. My heart is heavy. Give me power over the girl who stands in my way. Take this offering, and grant my wish." The water stirred though no wind blew, and suddenly, a figure rose from the river. It was a woman, tall, glistening, with eyes that shone like fireflies. Her hair flowed like black water, and her voice was both sweet and terrifying. "You call me, daughter of Ifeoma," she said. But beware, power has a price. Nene bowed low. I will pay it. Only give me what I ask. The river woman smiled, revealing sharp, shining teeth. From the water, she brought out a small black god. This god, she said, holds a potion of transformation. With it, you can turn flesh into a beast. Use it wisely, for the gods are watching. From that night, Nene carried the black god with her wherever she went. She hid it in her wrapper, her eyes glinting whenever she looked at Adana. But to the girl, she showed only sweetness. She braided her hair, shared food with her, and even sang soft songs when Okoro was near. To the world, she was the perfect stepmother. To herself, she was a lion waiting to strike. Adana, innocent as a lamb, never suspected. She loved Nene dearly and often prayed that God and the ancestors would bless her new mother. She even told her friends, "My stepmother is kind. I am lucky to have her." But little did she know that in the darkness of night, her stepmother whispered chants over a black god, plotting her downfall. The festival of New Yams came, a time of great joy in Umuaka. Drums thundered across the village, masquerades danced, and the air was filled with the smell of roasted yam and palm oil. Adana, dressed in beads and a bright red wrapper, was the star of the day. The villagers whispered, "Truly, this girl is blessed. She shines brighter than the festival fire itself." Those whispers pierced Nena's heart like spears. That night, when everyone had returned to their huts, she crept into Adana's room with the black god. She whispered the river woman's chant, "By water and shadow, beauty to beast, flesh to fur, laughter to bleating." She poured the potion over the sleeping girl. In an instant, Adana's body twisted, her arms shrank, her skin rippled, and by the time dawn broke, a goat stood where a girl had once slept. At sunrise, Okoro called for his daughter. "Adana, come help me fetch water." But no answer came. He searched the compound until his eyes fell on a goat bleating softly by the doorway of her hut. Confused, he scratched his head. "Whose goat is this? When did it enter my compound?" He looked everywhere, but Adana was gone. Nena, pretending innocence, clapped her hands in fake worry. "You! Could it be that a spirit carried her away? Oh, my husband, this is a bad omen. Maybe the ancestors are angry." Tears streamed down her face, but her eyes glittered with hidden joy. Okoro, broken and lost, believed her words. He carried the goat into the compound, not knowing it was his own daughter. Though trapped in the body of a goat, Adana's spirit remained human. She recognized her father's voice, her stepmother's false smiles, and the sorrow in her compound. Each time she bleated, she wished her father would understand. She followed him everywhere, her eyes pleading, but Okoro could not see the truth. But goats cannot hide everything. Sometimes, at night, when the moon was high, Adana's bleating sounded almost like words. "Father! Father!" she cried, but Okoro dismissed it as imagination. The villagers began to whisper, "Okoro's goat is strange. It follows him like a shadow. Its eyes are too human." Rumors spread, but no one dared say more. Now that Adana was gone, Nena's power in the household grew. She walked with pride, her head held high, her voice louder than before. Okoro, grieving but helpless, leaned on her for comfort. Soon, she became the one who decided when food was cooked, when farms were worked, and even how Okoro spent his evenings. But still, Nena was not satisfied. Each time she saw the goat, her heart skipped. The animal's eyes looked too much like Adana's. What if Okoro discovers the truth, she wondered. What if the villagers suspect me? Her fear began to grow, and with fear came cruelty. She kicked the goat whenever it came near, beat it with sticks, and sometimes starved it of food. Yet, no matter how much she tried, the goat refused to leave her father's side. One day, a stranger entered Umuaka. He was an old man, tall and bent, with a staff in his hand and cowries dangling from his neck. His eyes were deep, as though they could see into the soul. The villagers welcomed him with kola nuts and palm wine, as tradition demanded. He thanked them but said little, only watching the people carefully. When his eyes fell on Okoro's goat, he stopped. The animal's eyes widened, and the old man nodded slowly. "This is no ordinary goat," he whispered. "Something is wrong here." He turned to Okoro and asked, "Where did this goat come from?" Okoro explained, sadness heavy in his voice, how his daughter had vanished the same night the goat appeared. The old man tapped his staff on the ground. "Oh, the spirits have spoken. Bring me cowries, palm oil, and white chalk. Tonight, I will reveal the truth." That night, the villagers gathered under the iroko tree with their lanterns flickering like fireflies. Okoro brought the goat, and the old man drew circles of white chalk on the ground. He placed cowries and poured palm oil, chanting words that made the wind tremble. The air grew heavy, and even the crickets fell silent. "Spirits of truth, come and open our eyes," he called. As he chanted, the goat began to tremble. Its body shook, and its bleating grew louder until it sounded almost human. Then, before the eyes of the villagers, the goat's form melted away, and Adana stood there in her red wrapper, tears streaming down her cheeks. Gasps filled the air. Women screamed. Men staggered back in shock. Okoro fell to his knees, weeping, as he embraced his daughter. Nena's heart nearly stopped. She clutched her wrapper tightly, her legs shaking as she tried to hide among the villagers. But Adana's eyes, sharp as arrows, pointed straight at her. "Father," Adana cried, "it was she. She poured something on me," she whispered chants, "and when I woke, I was no longer myself. It was this woman who turned me into a goat." The crowd roared with anger. "Abomination," they shouted. "Witchcraft in our village." Some women began to spit on the ground, others covered their children's eyes. Okoro turned slowly toward his wife, his face burning like fire. "Is this true, Nena?" he asked, his voice shaking. But Nena fell to the ground, wailing. "They are lying against me. Spirits are deceiving you. I am innocent." The matter was taken to the elders. They sat in a circle, their long white beards shining in the moonlight, their walking sticks tapping the earth. The oldest among them, Ova, raised his hand. "This case is not small. To turn a child into a beast is no ordinary wickedness. It is a stain on our ancestors, a mockery of the gods." Adana was asked to speak, and she narrated everything from the night of the New Yam festival to her days as a goat, describing her stepmother's cruelty. The old stranger confirmed it with his staff, saying, "The spirits revealed it to me. This woman saw the river's power. She is guilty." The crowd clapped their hands in anger, chanting, "Punish her. She must not remain in our midst." At last, pressed by fear and shame, Nena broke down. She rolled on the ground, dust covering her body, her voice cracked with guilt. Yes, I confess. I went to the river woman. I asked for power. I wanted to silence the girl who stole all love and respect from me. I thought if she was gone, I would finally shine. Forgive me." But her cries only made the villagers angrier. "A heart that envies a child is darker than the grave," one woman shouted. "She must pay for what she has done," another added. The elders shook their heads. Wickedness cannot be excused by tears. The gods demand justice. If we spare her, more evil will come. The elders decreed that Nena must be judged under the great iroko tree, where no lie could stand. At dawn, the villagers gathered again, and Nena was brought forward with ropes tied around her wrists. The old man stood before her, lifting his staff high. "By the spirits of our ancestors, by the gods who see all, confess fully or perish." Nena's body shook like dry leaves in the harmattan wind. She admitted every detail, how she offered palm oil and blood to the river woman, how she received the black god, and how she poured it on Adana. The villagers hissed and spat. The elders rose, their voices united. She shall be taken to the river, where she sought her power, and there she shall face her punishment. The villagers carried Nena, bound in ropes, to the forbidden river. The air was heavy, and thunder rolled though no rain fell. She cried and begged, "Forgive me. Spare me." But the people were unmoved. When they reached the riverbank, the old man raised his staff again and shouted, "Spirits of the water, return what belongs to you." The river roared suddenly, waves rising higher than a man's head. From the water, the river woman appeared again, her eyes burning with fury. "Daughter of Ifeoma," she thundered, "you asked for power, and I gave it. But you used it for wickedness, and now the debt must be paid." Before Nena could scream again, the river opened and swallowed her whole. In a flash, the water grew calm, as if nothing had happened. Silence fell on the crowd. Some villagers trembled, others bowed their heads. Okoro held Adana tightly, tears of relief soaking his beard. The old man looked at them and said, "The gods are just. The river has taken back its servant. Let this be a warning, never allow envy to live in your heart, for it will consume you." The people nodded, their voices rising in agreement. From that day, peace returned to Okoro's household. Adana was restored, and her beauty shone brighter than ever. The villagers treated her with even greater respect, seeing her survival as a miracle. Okoro, humbled by the ordeal, promised never again to bring darkness into his home. The Iroko tree witnessed it all, its branches swaying as if clapping approval. The old man, whose wisdom had saved Adana, prepared to leave the village. The people begged him to stay, to guide them with his knowledge, but he only smiled. "I am a traveler," he said. "The spirits send me where I am needed. Today it was your village, tomorrow it will be another. Remember what you have seen, and teach it to your children." He blessed Okoro and Adana, touching their heads with his staff. "You, child," he said to Adana, "have been tested by fire and survived. Your life will shine like the morning sun, and your story will be told for generations." With that, he walked into the forest, his figure fading until only the sound of his staff remained. Years passed, and Adana grew into a woman of great wisdom and strength. She became known across villages not only for her beauty but for her story of survival. Young girls sat at her feet, listening to her warn them of envy and jealousy. "A heart filled with love lives long," she told them. "But a heart poisoned with hate destroys itself." Suitors came from far and wide, bringing gifts of kola, palm wine, and even bags of cowries, hoping to marry her. But Adana chose carefully, for she had learned that not every smiling face hides a kind heart. In time, she found a husband who loved her deeply, and together they raised children who grew up hearing the story of how their mother was once turned into a goat.